Our title for today is How to Live Alive and Vital in an Ever-Changing World. I'm going to start our conversation today with one of my absolute favorite readings from Dr. Ernest Holmes. To me, this is very simple and yet profound and a big reminder. It's from chapter 3 of The Art of Life, also known as This Thing Called Life. And Dr. Holmes says, life goes on, but are we making the most of this thing called life? We can imagine a fish being told that he is surrounded by water, but not quite realizing what that means. We can imagine such a fish swimming north, south, east, and west in search of water. If we think of this fish as a person, we can even imagine him looking up books of fish lore, studying fish psychology and fish philosophy, always endeavoring to discover just where the waters of life are and how to approach them. Perhaps some wise old fish might say, it has come down to us through tradition that in ancient times our ancestors knew about a wonderful ocean of life. They prophesied a day when all shall live in the waters of life happily ever after. And can't we imagine all of the other fish getting together and rolling their eyes and wiggling their tails and looking wise and mysterious and beginning to chant, "Oh, water, 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 we beseech you to reveal yourself to us. We beseech you to flow around and through us, even as you did in the times of our ancestors." And as a matter of fact, we are in the waters of infinite life as the fishes in the ocean. The spirit of life is all around us. It flows through us. It permeates everything. It is the essence of all form and flows through every condition. And yet, we are still looking for it. What we look for, we unwittingly look at, but fail to recognize. When I was thinking about this title for today, to me, the way we live a vital and alive life is to be continually aware of the presence of God within, to be continually aware that we are absolutely surrounded by the divine. Holmes says in A New Design for Living, we are all living in a world of continuous change, a world in which thought, things, and experiences are all in a constant state of flux. It is the very nature of the universe that there should be a continuous change and variation. It is a living world, the creation of a living, creative intelligence, not a stagnant world created by a God now dead or departed who has left it to decay. No, it is vital, and alive. The mind that created it is not far from it, but is always active in it and through it. We live in a world that is active and alive. We live in a world that changes continuously. There's a saying that you cannot step in the same river twice, that by the time you put your second foot down, the world has changed. I used this topic back for a little newsletter that I used to do for my church on May the 1st, 2014. The significance of that date was that my husband and I had just moved into our new home the week before. And I went on to talk about in the newsletter article I wrote that how different it was to start placing our furniture in a house that was totally different than the one we had lived in before. And that some things didn't fit and some things didn't work. what made this even more unique, as we moved into that house on April the 24th, 2014, and were flooded out of it on May the 25th, 2014, and actually ended up not being able to live in that house for 6 months after that, as it had to be totally rebuilt. Or not rebuilt, but the inside of it had to be totally redone. And it was a time of very, very intense change. It was scary. It was drastic. And if I'm very honest, even though it was an actual disaster, it was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. Because we had been forced to have flood insurance. I had fought it tooth and nail and lost, and I'm very grateful for that. But because the house literally had to be totally gutted, we were able to redo it in the way that we would have done it over a 5-year period. But instead of doing it in 5 years, we did it in 6 months. And as I got into this process and began to release a lot of the drama around it, and remembered, like the fish say, or the fish should know that they live in the ocean of water of life. I live in the middle and am part of that divine intelligence that creates everything. And being able to get in touch with that divine intelligence, being able to be aware that I was guided and directed in every step I was to take. And then even in the midst of the most chaotic 6 months of my life, great things happened because I could stay connected. And I truly believe that part of the reason that we were very, very lucky in all the repairmen and people who came to work on the house, that we ended up with some of the best at what they did, that we were extremely blessed through the whole process. And I believe that a lot of the reason that was so is because we could stay connected with our source. And we're able to honor that source, even though it was such a drastic change in our life. We were very blessed, even in the face of tragedy. And I think when we look at living in a vital and alive life in a time of change, and I believe we are in a time of drastic change, that we have to take that time, we have to take those moments to truly, truly remind ourselves of our oneness with God. That we have to make an effort until we are so conscious of it, it's automatic, of connecting with that oneness of spirit. Even if it's something as simple as closing your eyes and taking a deep breath of traffic light, or every time your telephone rings, taking a couple of deep breaths before you answer it, and just silently saying to yourself, I am one with God, I am one with spirit, I am one with the universe, I am one with the divine intelligence, or whatever connects you with the infiniteness of the universe. Just reminding yourself through that breath. I know there's Wayne Dyer says in one of his books that he liked to meditate at stoplights because he always knew that someone behind him would be nice enough to give a little honk to let him know when the light turned green. So, we take the time when we can get it. We take the time to immerse ourselves and remind ourselves that with God all things are possible, and that we are one with that infinite dynamic source in every moment. I want to end today with a very short little meditation, also out of the 3rd chapter of The Art of Life. So if you'll just close your eyes a moment, I want to read what Dr. Holmes said. And as we think of these words, I want you to really, really make that connection with the divine, to really, really get in touch with knowing your oneness. I know that the Spirit goes before me and makes perfect, plain, direct, and immediate my way. I rest in calm peace and an absolute certainty that all the good is there, is devoted to my well-being. I know this is true for everyone. I view myself as part of the divine union of all things. Therefore, I know that I am one with every person, every event, every situation that arises in my experiences. I know that I bring forth from all persons and events which I can contact the best that is in them. I know that I give back the best that is in me. And one of my favorite affirmations for remembering that I am one with God and that I am alive and present in this moment is, there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. And that life is my life now. And so it is. Thank you.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.